What is up, Unity community? Welcome back to another official Unity live stream here on twitch.tv/Unity and, of course, our Unity YouTube page. My name is Jackson. I am one of your community managers. I am responsible for bringing you all of this live stream content. We are live here on these channels twice a week on Thursdays and most Tuesdays. We are bringing you the latest and greatest in Unity content, whether that's technical content, teaching you to be better in the Unity engine, or on the other side, some engine agnostic content, teaching you to be a better indie dev. Regardless of what content we have, we are so grateful that you are here with us today. Thank you so very much. If you are here and you are watching live, like Joshua, like Marcos, like Fernando, like all of these lovely people, remember that this is a conversation. We are here. We see you. We see your messages. Like we have a question already. Sorry, people are making fun of the way that I pronounce people's names, and it's warranted, quite honestly. But we had a question: is this going to be recorded? It will exist on the YouTube page after we finish the live section. But that being said, if you have questions, comments, all of these different things during these streams, feel free to put them in the chat. We are paying attention. We would love to connect you with our guests, to ask your questions, to bring up your concerns, all of your comments. We want to have this conversation with you. However, if you are watching after the fact as a VOD on YouTube, take a look down at that navigation bar, as you will be able to jump around to whatever section most appeals to you. We have a very, very cool stream planned for you all. This, of course, is the second entry in a series that we are calling Clocked and Loaded, named by you, the community. This is a series in which we are challenging our guests to do something in Unity with a 10-minute time constraint, how it would change if they had an hour, and how it would look if they had a day, and kind of walk us through all of the steps. Of course, today's topic is multiplayer, and we've got some very cool things ahead. I'm very excited to get into this one. What I'd love to hear from all of you in the Unity community is where in the world you are tuning in from. Of course, it's a frequent one around these parts, but I love to get to know you all a little bit as we are building this community with you, not necessarily for you. So thank you all again very, very much for hanging out with us. And without further ado, I think it's time we bring in our guest here. You may know him from the Summer of Esteban. Of course, it is the legend themselves, Esteban. Welcome to the show. How are you?
What up, Jackson? I'm super excited. I want to talk about multiplayer stuff. I want to show people what's up. And by the way, hi community. Like it's awesome to be in a live stream again.
Yeah.
Like so.
We
Amazing.
got people filtering in from all over the world to say hey to you, Esteban. We got Bogota, we got Alabama, Arkansas,
Wow,
Netherlands, Brazil. Joshua asking about Mike. Mike's not in for this Clocked and Loaded. However, he is tentatively marked for next month's Clocked and Loaded, which is very exciting. Also, people recognizing you, Esteban. You're basically a celebrity around these parts. Of course, we had you last summer, right when I was getting started. We had a 5-stream series that was the Summer of Esteban. It was known
that was not the official title.
So again, if anyone is newer to the streams than last summer, awesome, fantastic. Love to see new people in the mix here, especially as we're doing these every week, if not twice a week. But last summer we had a series called what was it? Net Check. That's what it was. Yeah,
Net Check with the awesome the one and only Thomas. Oh my god.
Exactly.
Like, we miss you, buddy.
We miss him. We miss him big time. But basically that series was, hey, can we take a game that we've made and convert it to multiplayer over 5 weeks? Can we get everything that we need? Which was super fun. And Esteban, you were kind of our multiplayer leader. You've since joined us. Were you a part of one of the game jams more recently as well?
No, the Crazy Web game jam. Remember, we did a live stream to like kick it off, but
yeah.
But yeah, I remember that was Kirk. Oh my God, Joy for sure. Like that one, and Lydia. There we go. Like that was.
Oh yeah, that's right, Lydia. Lydia was in the mix. I love that. So you've been around, you've been here. Again, thank you everybody for popping in to say hey from all over the world. Again, Twitch and YouTube, we're paying attention to you. Golden Character Design, Andrew, Laker, Ninja, Wenmen, everybody. Great to see you all. And Esteban, great to have you back. But if this is someone's first encounter with you, can you tell them a little bit about what you do at Unity?
But before I do, I gotta give a shout out to
Please.
definitely the community that saying hi, and in Bogota and Brazil. Like I immediately get flooded with like very good memories. Like last year we went to Bogota. For some awesome events, and we met some amazing people like this organization called Tan Grande y Jugando. Gotta give them a shout out. Uh, they put play testers and even gamify the playtesting session so that people could actually win prizes as people play games. In Brazil, we went to Gamescom Latam just like a few weeks ago. It was amazing. Met many Brazilian developers. So the talent out there is simply great to see, and it's great to meet, and it's inspiring as well to see all the talent. But back to the original question is like,
but back to me, right?
Yeah. No, just to answer, just to keep in the flow. No. So a developer advocate, what a developer advocate does is think of them like a marketing person that doesn't really like, we sell but we don't sell, because we show the value of the technology that we want to show off to communities and conferences, and we spread the word of Unity solutions. But not just but we actually also take feedback from the community. We're like a bridge between the community and the people, and the very much smarter people that create these awesome technologies. Like that's how I see it. It's kind of like a human bridge between and a communication way between a customer and the people creating the products, and back and forth, and we try to show these solutions in the best light possible. That's kind of like the essence of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like each advocate kind of has their areas of expertise, yours being multiplayer focused conveniently for today's stream, which is great. And I've had the pleasure of seeing you work a couple of times now. I believe we were together in Finland at the end of last year, and I was able to see you do some work there. And then more recently,
shout out to Studio Rovio. Oh my
God. So fun, right? Home of Angry Birds. I'm in there just like 2 months into the job, like, whoa, Angry Birds is here. And then more recently, you came out to Vancouver and we went to a handful of schools. So Esteban, you do a presentation based around how to set up multiplayer, and it's like a crash course inside of like 30 minutes. And it's really, really fun. So what we always say about the live streams is getting the right person in the room is one of the most important things. So I feel wholeheartedly that we have you in the right spot. So I'm very excited. Now,
I'll try my best.
Paint a picture about you, Esteban, and we'll make this easier for you. You can answer either what is your favorite game of all time, or if it's easier, what have you been playing lately? What
I've been playing lately? I started playing Dredge.
Yes.
I started playing Dredge, and honestly, like very, very, very cool. Like the one I always answer is like Rocket League. I'm a very big Rocket League player, but no. Okay. Like Dredge is a game that I played, and it's so beautiful and so awesome, man. And I would say like a recent one, Balatro as well. Oh my God.
Yeah, of course.
Gotta get the shout out. But Balatro was really addictive in a good way. But yes.
Good. It is. And you're not wrong. Like Dredge was my game of the year it came out. Absolutely love it. And you mentioned Rocket League, and I was just having a conversation with our producer before we started the stream as well. Well, I guess the team behind Sifu, which is like a martial arts movie game, which was incredible, and I loved it, has a new game coming out called Rematch, and they've got an open beta at the end of the month. Rematch is essentially Rocket League, but soccer. It's not like it's football. It's European football, but it's not like FIFA. It is like Rocket League was bold enough to say, what if football, but with cars? And Rematch isn't like, but what if FIFA? It's like, what if Rocket League, but with people? So it's this weird roundabout way. And that description is super strange. But if you look at any of the footage, you're like, okay, I get it. Anyhow, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be super.
Jack says Blitz with soccer. Nice.
Soccer. Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
Anyhow, I think that it's time that we get into Clocked and Loaded here. We're going to start with an overview of the concept. What is Clocked and Loaded? And then we're going to dive in to the meat of the stream. Of course, Clocked and Loaded. This is our second one that we have done. C. Strawn in the Twitch chat, name the show. And they are not here currently. So I'm hoping that they return to see the glory of their work. Now, Clocked and Loaded challenges our guests to create a system, to create a component, to create a piece of a game in 10 minutes, 1 hour, and 1 day, and explain how their approach changed and when people should utilize these different approaches. For example, the one that we did previously was a 2D player controller, and Mike, our guest at the time, was very, very adamant, don't do it the way that he did in the 10-minute one. That is not, it got it done, but it would not be scalable. He would not be able to elaborate or build off of it, and had to kind of scrap it or really, really work hard to make it work for the later sections. So again, it is important that we point out, and we will continue to give you the context of whether or not we feel that this is a way you should operate. You can get it done this way. And as we say here, and I've yet to find a better analogy, and I swear every time that I will, there's many different ways to skin a cat. So you can go at this a bunch of different ways. Wow. And we know that that's true. Esteban, I didn't make up the saying, okay?
I know.
I didn't make it up, but I need to find a new one.
I haven't heard it in a while.
I know. It's jarring. We got to find a better one. So is this a catch-all solution? Absolutely not. I don't think that there really are many in game development in general. Is there one golden way to do anything? Probably not. Now, we again will give you that context. Should you do it this way? Yes or no? What did we learn? Everything like that. This is a conceptual show. It's here to explore the different approaches and using the time constraints as kind of a different thing. So ultimately, with the time constraints, some of this might be really useful to you if you're in a game jam, right? Get it done as quickly as you can and move on. So again, we'll try and continue to give you all of that context. And we will basically also be diving into setting our goals. Like I will ask Esteban, what did you hope to accomplish in this section? Exploring what he did accomplish, and then talking about what we would have done differently at the end. We'll do a bit of a post-mortem, dive in and say, hey, how would you approach this differently? What did we learn? All of those great things. So this will be chock full of information. We will be diving in to code. We'll be getting into all of it with the multiplayer expert. Esteban, anything that you want to add before we get into it?
Yes, I'm gonna jump ahead and say no, this is not the ideal the ideal or super optimized way things are doing. Like this is essentially a series of game jams. That's what's up.
And honestly, perfect that we're giving that context. We put up a post on YouTube talking about the stream, and someone wrote a novel about how it's misleading to, and we're like, oh, I mean, it's not misleading. It's just, we're going to be honest, and we're going to give you that context every step of the way to let you know, should you do this way. Additionally,
but it was fun.
It is good. And that's the most important thing, because that's what these live streams are meant to be. We're hoping that you come here, you learn something, you feel inspired by something, you connect with the Unity community, and that you have a little bit of fun. That is my job here. We will also be putting learning resources for you all to follow up in the chat as we go, whether that's ebooks, learn.unity.com, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So keep an eye out for that. Again, if you have any questions, ask them. If we can't answer them in the moment, we might circle back to a Q&A towards the end of the stream as well. So now that the stage is set, we're going to dive right in here with a multiplayer in 10 minutes. And while the 1 hour and the 1 day you accomplished ahead of time, Esteban, we're going to do the 10-minute one live.
Yes.
So that everybody can take a look here.
Definitely.
Esteban, what do you want to accomplish in your 10-minute multiplayer approach?
The most basic synchronization of just the two players spawning and the position. That's it. That's it.
That's a multiplayer game.
That is a multiplayer scene at the very least. At the very least,
we're there.
Yeah, we're there. So let's see how I made that happen. So let's go ahead and we can jump into Unity Editor here. Now, what I'm actually showing right now is the offline version, just to give a little bit of context. So, like, especially for if those of you that may not have seen the previous live stream, because surprise, this is kind of like a sequel of the previous Clock and Loaded, because I used Mike's own project that he made. So this is kind of like a continuation, right? So Let me go ahead and double click here to give you a better view. So this is what we have. This is what we've had before. This is Mike's one. I started off with the scene with the 1 hour version. I was like, all right, cool. Well, let's see. This is the little character. You know, it jumps. It has these animations and whatnot. When you fall off, this is something that I believe I added later. But this is the single player. This is for everybody to get what is going on. We have this little character, it's a little platformer. You can go up on the hills, go down the hills. All good. Now let's actually get started into converting this. Now, I only have 10 minutes. You saw animations. You saw sprite switching in the direction. I don't think I'm gonna have time for that in just 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and remove this this character here because we're not gonna need it. But what we're gonna be adding is a cool component.
So are we in it, Esteban?
Yeah, we're
doing it. I'm going to start a timer. You don't have to hit the 10 minutes exactly, but just for a little framework.
Oh, okay.
I know we're going to distract you, but I just wanted to make sure. So we're doing it. We're executing. Let's go.
And it may take longer than 10 minutes, but that's because, you know, like that's because I'm explaining stuff.
Of course.
Like that's not how it works in real life. Like I do stuff in the editor and then I explain it to the wall and to the void. Like
exactly.
Yes. Maybe, but anyway. So let's go ahead and create this empty game object right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it the network manager. There we go. I know how to spell manager. There we go. So as part of this this game object, I'm gonna go ahead and add this cool component called also the network manager, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and select a Unity transport, which is a fancy way of saying how is it that data gets like from one connected device to another, and the network the transport is the actual thing that actually sends the data in bytes, you know, like and bytes and packets, right? And everybody knows like, oh, we're sending packets back and forth. So that's a layer of code that handles that. Where the netcode layer sort of like grabs information that is important to other players, right? So the network manager is this component that actually starts off the networking session, and we need to set we need to set it up correctly, and that was the first thing that we needed to do, like set up that lower level transport. The next thing we need to do is that we need to have our character, and we need to convert it into a synchronizable character. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose over here out of the prefabs that Mike was working last time, and I'm gonna choose this one, the player 10 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of practicing with the little magnifying glass there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it under the 10 minutes challenge. So I'm gonna rename this this prefab. I'm gonna rename this prefab 10-minute network _ live, because I already did it, but I'm gonna this is the one that we are converting live. So let's go ahead, and this is what we have. This is what happened on the live stream last time. Only a little sprite, nothing else, with a rigid body and a little controller script that every time you press the space bar, it adds a little bit of force to the rigid body, and that's jumping, really. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is to add a network object component over here. Now the network object tells the network manager that this object is synchronizable, that it will be part of a networking session at some point, right? So it's sort of like a tag that says this is a multiplayer object that will have data synchronized. Then we're going to be we're going to be adding this very cool component called the client network transform. And I'm also going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. So there we go. So the client network transform is actually meant to synchronize that actual data, like the position, the rotation, the scale, and all that good stuff. Now, this is where I always say, like, we as like software developers or game developers, like, we should never pre-optimize. We should never pre-optimize like especially when you're just ideating stuff or just prototyping stuff, right? But this is the one exception that I feel that it's okay that we can have a pass, because think about it, Jackson. If
Yes.
we're moving, this is a 2D game, we're moving left and right, up and down.
Yep.
Like, will the character move like forward or backward? Like,
wouldn't move forward or backward, Esteban.
So we don't need to send that data. Like, I know that my little character is never going to rotate. So Jackson, do we need to make sure to synchronize that data that doesn't change? No. Right?
Why would we? It's not going to change.
Exactly. Well, then we can also take away the rotation and the scale, because I know that my character is never going to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and only send in the X and Y position. That's it. So again, never pre-optimized, but this is like the one time that I think it's okay.
We're pretty confident on this one.
And then we need to add a network rigid body 2D to help synchronize physics events, right? So let's see what happens. Let's go for it. Like, I believe that we are ready to try our character. Now, in our network manager, the thing is that we actually have this little field right here, which is the player prefab. That player prefab is like the thing that gets created that represents you as a player and that you can control. Oh, and by the way, also that's why it's that other component. That's why it's called client network transform, because you are controlling it, and and that object is going to be owned and controlled directly by you on your computer or your device, right?
I'm understanding way more of this than I did in the summer of Esteban.
I'm definitely glad, and it's a good review because it's been a while. So I went ahead and said that, and I told the network manager, hey, create this for me when the network session starts. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start the game. Our network manager should be set up, and we need to add it now. True, because we haven't. I haven't built. It's not part of the scenes to build.
Thank you, Jack, for the production value. Esteban, we have a timer on.
Oh, no pressure.
How you feeling with the timer against you?
No pressure.
Okay. Good. Added value. Love it.
Okay. So right now we don't actually have like a way to like start the game, no buttons or something. But over here, the network manager on the editor lets you start a little, and we have our little character. Yay. And it can jump around, and we can add force and add force and add force all the way forever. But Jackson, this is a multiplayer game, so we need to bring in another device, another character, right? So in Unity 6, we have these cool tools called the play mode tools, and they let us create a copy of your project, but like a read-only copy. It's sort of like a way to simulate another device in your own machine without having to build the game and send it to somebody else. So it's very convenient. And this one is one of my favorite tools. This is definitely one of my favorite tools when I work on stuff, or when I prototype, or it's because in the past you actually needed to go into the file, into the build menu, and have to wait minutes or however long it takes to build the entire game. Okay, so we have our little second window right here. Okay, all well and good, but we don't have like a little menu that we can interact with, right?
Right.
So there's this cool thing called the multiplayer center. This tool right here, that based on the kind of game that you want to create, like whether it's an arcade, platformer, sandbox, whatever, it recommends you the tools that you need in order to make that multiplayer game happen. I'm gonna zoom in here, and that's why I have set up to arcade, platformer. We're making a platformer. It's recommending netcode for game objects of what we're using, and the hosting model, distributed authority. Okay, so but over here we have this thing that actually lets you to create and add a scene with netcode setup. So like it helps you pre-made a scene with already some netcode components. So I'm gonna go ahead. I already went ahead and did that, and I have the scene right here with like a little menu, a little UI that I'm gonna go ahead, copy paste, and bring over to the scene that we were working in, and bam. That way in the game, I have a way to start the networking session.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Are we there? We got 45 seconds. Are we doing it?
I believe that we are.
Dang. Okay. People were nervous. I'll tell you that while we're loading.
All right. So let's see what happens. Okay. So pew, pew, pew. And now we're going to start as a client here.
We got two.
It didn't match. Didn't match the scene. Let me restart.
No.
Let me restart the player. I didn't save the scene. So maybe that was it. Let me.
Oh no! Now we're going right up against the clock. We're going right up against the clock on this one. Okay, you're not making any more changes.
Not making any more changes.
So I just want to say, I think we got
cool
changes. But if you have to, obviously you do. But I'm just curious.
Yeah. Okay. Shoot, now I'm actually kind of nervous.
I know.
And excited at the same time. Okay.
It's the right kind of nervous.
All right. This doesn't count modifying. This doesn't count modifying the level. I am not doing any modification. All I'm doing, just for the heck of it, is literally just restarting my virtual player. That's all I'm doing. I haven't edited the scene other than saving it. And that's it.
Good. We got 1 minute of overtime.
Okay. And me thinking in my head, network manager. Yes, I believe. So I believe that it should definitely. I believe that's the one. Checking my work while the other player is loading and activating. So we have the network object. We have rigid body, client network transform, network rigid body. All right.
Okay, no changes. Just literally.
But I only verified my work. That's it.
Just a little quick review. That's all.
Exactly. That's all I did. Like a little quick review. Okay.
We got this. We're in overtime.
Nice.
This is crunch time. Do or die. All right.
Yeah. All right. So, and yay!
We did it! Literally all it was unchecked check. So, for the record, everybody, I know we went into overtime. As the official referee in the scenario, was done in less than 10 minutes. All right? Check. Esteban did it live in less than 10 minutes. Let's make some noise.
And I'm not going to die. Yay.
He did it. We did it. Were you stressed? You were like, oh my God, this is the end of the world.
It's like do or die. I'm like, oh crap. Well, this might be my last day.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. We did it. We're seeing some thumbs up. We're seeing some fire emojis. People are giving you your credit here.
Awesome.
Andrew the Day and on the Twitch side says, Jackson, your turn. 10 minutes. Go. Honestly, with Esteban here, I bet I could. And with that like succinct description, listen, Esteban not only did it in 10 minutes, he did it while explaining it to you all in 10 minutes. All right. Pretty good. Cool. Pretty good. Okay.
Yeah. Now, now to sort of like give give a little preview of what I would have added, what I would have added to the scene is this right here. I would have added a little bit of UI to actually, take the scene online, because this is one of the features that are available. So this would be right now. So what I learned is that what I learned is 10 minutes, and same as when I tried it, it's like it was a good review of like discard anything that is not crucial to the gameplay. Like I never mentioned the character, the color, the sprites, like the animations, like none of that. Like throw that away. Like remember, when you're making games, the good old lesson: fun is the key. Well, I'm not saying that this level was like super fun, but I only had 10 minutes. But the gameplay and the fun is like trumps everything. Like should be the goal and should be the priority. So yes. But
awesome.
This is what I would have done if I had more time. Like add the UI to take it online. But okay, awesome. Let's go.
So
should we go to 1 hour?
Refocus on 1 hour. So let's talk goals here. So again, we did the 10 minutes live. We're not doing 1 hour or 1 day live. That would be nuts. I mean, I've done a 6-hour live stream on this channel, but I don't want to do it again. So
dude, I still don't know how you did that. I'm amazed that was crazy. Like,
thank you.
That was crazy.
Let's never do it again. When Men says it would probably take me 2 months just for that. So you've learned all from Esteban how you can get about doing this pretty quickly. So we pre-canned it. We did the 1 hour and 1 day example ahead of time. We're going to talk about what your goals were, what you accomplished, and we're going to dive right in. So for the 1 hour project, what were you hoping to accomplish?
So for the 1 hour project, my goal was to definitely, repeat the same steps, but take it online. But so synchronize the character, but this time, since I had more time, I wanted to synchronize like the actual cosmetic values, like the direction of the sprite, like spawning the particles and all that good stuff. I wanted to let players know what the other player was doing in terms of like the direction they were facing, like their actual visual status. They could see like if they were jumping and animating, all that good stuff. So I definitely wanted to practice that. So I guess a lot of cosmetic stuff, really, like
sure.
this time around. But
it's interesting because again, to my untrained eye, I don't realize until someone explains it to me that every single little detail needs to have that information translated over or transferred over to the other people.
It's weird, but yes and no. Because you need to transfer exactly what you need, but at the same time, it's like, for example, if somebody jump, you don't send over particle effects, you don't send over game object. You just send like a little signal, like, hey, somebody jump. Like,
gotcha.
maybe if you can, spawn some particle effects over here on the copy of the other player, right? But that's really a lot of how it works. Send as much data as possible, but try to make and interpret it and run a lot of stuff on the client side, on the device, not on the playing device. So okay, so
the approach largely cosmetic. Get everything.
In this one,
all of the specific details of a character movement.
Yes, okay. I wanted to at least have I guess a more defined synchronized character.
Got
it.
Sweet.
So let's see how we do that.
Yeah, let's take a look at what we'll start at the end, right? And then we'll go backwards. So we'll do a little demo of what you created. Okay.
Well, actually, but just for context, I don't think I should. I don't think I needed to play this, but just for context, people, I went ahead and also started at the same point, like with the offline scene, like nothing on it, right? So cool. Let's actually go into the end. Let's actually see how it ended up. And this time, like I mentioned, also I did take the scene online. And if my player is still good, and by the way, this is one of the coolest. This is one of the coolest aspects about this virtual player, Jackson, is that you can even change scenes and the player updates with you.
Cool. Yeah, we had someone calling out in the YouTube chat that this would have required them to build, and then execute and run at multiple instances. So
actually, that's a very good point to whoever mentioned it. I like to play, like when I the last 2 times that I presented with this project, we played a game, and like keep in your head, count how many times you would have needed to rebuild just by all the changes, all the times that I actually needed to update the scene, and the player caught up with it immediately. Like think of all the wasted time that would have happened if you needed to rebuild, right? So okay, now Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and join a session quickly. So, by the way, for those of you that are watching this but are not familiar, these UI elements, all of these are actually widgets, multiplayer widgets. All of these are pre-created. So I didn't spend any single time creating these UI elements. And what's happening right now is that my project is already connected to Unity services. This is actually working online and over the internet. And I have this little character right here that it spawns like the particle effects. It has the change in sprites. Now I'm gonna go ahead into the other player and gonna refresh the UI, and we see this little session. I'm gonna go ahead and join it, and if things work out correctly, cool.
So you can see.
Check it out.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Now this, we have our little character. As you can see, the particles are spawning correctly. The animation, the direction of the sprite, and if we see over here, bam, also on the player. Cool. But we technically have an online game. Like this is something that I could share with somebody, and we could play in a scene.
Yeah, right? we were actually toying with the idea of like distributing a final product to everyone in the chat and being like, everyone jump into this game together. It became too complicated. We decided not to.
Let's see. Let's see if we can make it. We'll improvise or something like maybe the 10-minute version if we build it, because it's very quick. It would be cool if we can distribute it to people. But let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So let's go a little bit into how this works. And by the way, this right here, it's like a little racing checkpoint that sort of hints of where I went in the one-day project. But let's explain a little bit of what's going on in the 1 hour version. Okay, so let's stop playing.
We've got people asking for the breakdowns, the overviews, the explanations. We're getting to it. We're doing it right now. We're diving in.
We're going in. So. Here we have the 1 hour. Which one is the one that I use? Let me make sure. There we go. Player 1 hour cosmetic network. Okay, so because this is the one where I modified the scripts that Mike was talking about last time. So going into our player prefab, we have our little character. We have still the the network object. Let me go ahead and magnify over here. We have our network object. We have our player controller. We have our client network transform, same as before. Definitely need that for when you want real-time control. And let's go ahead. I guess we can start on this one. This one right here. Hey, camera, look at me script.
Did you name that?
So Mike named this script, Hey, camera, look at me. Yeah, but I underscored network. All right.
Got it.
So what this script actually does is that in the scene, there is a Cinemachine virtual camera. And by the way, shout out to the people that make Cinemachine. It's an amazing product. And it's an amazing package that lets you do like camera effects and even for cutscenes, animations, all that. Oh, it's simply amazing. But what we're doing we're using it for a very simple use, which is have the camera follow the player like automatically for us, right? So what Mike did in the offline version is to simply whenever we start the game, find the Cinemachine camera and tell the camera, "Hey, camera, you don't have a target. Look at me," and that's it. And that's the only thing that we're doing here. But the biggest difference is that we are, instead of inheriting from mono behavior, we are inheriting from network behavior. So that is the multiplayer version of the class that you need to inherit from in order to have access to that netcode layer that I mentioned at the beginning. So this is basically the mono behavior of multiplayer games, right? And then this if statement right here, the is owner. What I'm actually doing. So Jackson, you saw that there were, even though I was playing with my own character and was jumping around, there was another player, right? That is the copy of player 2 in player 1, and in player 1 you see you see a copy of player 2, and vice versa, right?
Of course.
So those objects get updated. The two of them get updated. So if there's particular logic that you need to run from the character that you own, like your own little character, well, then you need to make sure that you run that logic when it's your turn to update, not the copy of the other player. So that's what I'm doing here. It's like, if this is not your character, if you don't own this, then you don't got to do anything right here. Like, but otherwise, proceed and run. So proceed and run. So this is essentially like for when you're the owner. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to introduce that concept of ownership, and ownership as is also called authority, like in the smallest script possible. Now let's go into a more complex one, and this one right here, player input. So player input is the script that actually handles the gathering of input from the from the keyboard or whatever device. I believe that in this case is keyboard, but yeah, also the same thing. Like so in a way, like this is something good that was done in the previous live stream, separating the responsibilities. So the whole job of this script is to gather input, and the script of the controller is to react to what was captured by that input. And I really like that, because it allowed me to conveniently just say, okay, both of you are going to have input scripts. Let me just repeat the same technique. If you own the character, capture input. If you don't do jack stuff. There you go.
Smart. Good save. Good save. You wouldn't be the first. Wouldn't be the first, but you saved it. I'm proud of
you. So in a way, like by just adding this, we're like, all right, cool. The other input logic will just react to. Oh, Jack. Sorry. But with that, now the whole script can continue as it was before. I didn't need to go in and change how I'm capturing the input from the keyboard. So that's this is one of the cool things about this library, right? So let's go ahead and go into, even though I have it here, the controller 1 hour cosmetic. I actually modified the there we go, 1 hour cosmetic. Okay, so in the actual controller, this is where I went a little bit deeper and added more stuff. So same as before, I modified the class to inherit from network behavior. Now we're in the controller. Now we're in the script that actually reacts to the input, right? So there we go. So same thing as before, I inherited from network behavior. Then this thing right here, this is a network variable. So the direction, this variable in the offline version, it was also used for this, but which is to determine the direction of the sprite, right? So what I did here is that I actually switched to from being an offline version to a network variable. So a network variable is basically a way of saying you're going to have this, you're going to have this variable, this data, and it's going to be synchronized to the other characters. So remember the client the network transform that I added. So, and for each position, I was checking and unchecking what position and what stuff to synchronize and not synchronize. Those are also network variables as well. So the same way, the same way that component synchronizes X position, Y position, and so on, you can have your own data as well be synchronized, and that's what I did with this network variable, this direction right here. Okay, so now one thing that I did to make sure that the direction of the sprites are synchronized is that the same way that the same way that objects have like the start method, they also have in the multiplayer version, they have like a similar kind of call that is called the on network spawn. And the on network spawn is what happens when the character gets created and starts being synchronized, the first player and the second player, that when that synchronization happens. So what I'm doing here is saying in this multiplayer version of the start, you can think about it like that. If I am not the owner, then subscribe to the event of when the direction value changes, right? So what I'm saying is like, hey, your player, like I'm playing from the point of view of player two. I'm playing from the point of view of player one. Player two should react and should subscribe to whenever I flip my direction so that they can flip my copy on their device. And that's what's going on. So I subscribe to this function right here, which is literally everybody else flip direction. And based on the new value, if the new value is to the right, well, then don't flip the X. If the value is to the left, or if it's not 0, I believe it's no. If it's -1, that's that I believe that's how it's done in the script. If it's -1, you're facing left. If it's +1, you're facing right. And that's really essentially it. Like the other difference, like how it was synchronizing like the animations, is the fact that I added this cool component that is also pre-made by the network layer called the owner network animator. Mm-hmm. The netcode documentation lets you know how to quickly create this. It's a script that you literally copy paste and you bring it over. So this is the equivalent of saying, this is the equivalent of like the same way we have a client network transform. This is very similar to a client, like if it was a client network animator. That's it. You're synchronizing animations, but for characters that the player controls, and that's it. And then you're feeding the animator, which is in this cosmetic sub game object that actually has the animator and the animator controller. That's it. Okay. But essentially, if I recall correctly, like yes, like yes, so that's actually how I was able to make that happen. But then I went ahead and added the little widgets, one by one, mm-hmm. and was able to have, the two characters. Oh, I knew that it was something that I was forgetting. I knew there was something that I was forgetting. Aha. Okay. Yes, the aha moment. Mm-hmm. The particles.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
There we go. Okay, so how is it that these particles are being spawned when you go ahead and jump? I knew I was forgetting something when I was talking about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back and we have our little code, and we have this function. We have this function right here. Create first jump effects, right? And it's literally like just instantiating the actual effects, like the prefab of the prefab of that little particle that spawns, right? And then it goes ahead and destroys it after 0.5 seconds. That's what we do. But there's this function right here that says everybody else create first jump FX, RPC. What the heck is an RPC? So an RPC
a random player character.
random player character. That is completely no good try.
Close.
No.
Close.
No. It is called a remote procedure call.
Close.
Now, what the heck is a remote procedure call? A remote procedure call is something. It's a function that gets executed, gets called. Sorry, but most likely will be executed in somebody else's device, or either on the server or all the other devices. And that's actually what I'm doing here. So this function, everybody else create first jump FX, is literally saying, hey, everybody else, I just jumped. Everybody, you in your copy, you should also do this thing and react to this way, and also create this effects, particle effects, right? So, so that's really what I'm doing. And when they get that signal, they go, oh, okay, cool. I'll go ahead and spawn this effects, and that's why it's calling this function right here the same one, because it's calling that function on their end. And you might see like and this function seems like a very normal one, but the only difference is that it actually has this little attribute, which is the RPC attribute. And what I'm doing here is saying, hey, this is going to be like a signal, a one-time signal that you're going to send to everybody except me. So that's when I say like send to not me, send to everybody else. And the delivery, it says unreliable. Now, why would I put a message that I sent to everybody else as unreliable? Because I might not care that this message fails, especially if all the characters are jumping around and everything and spawning all these effects. Well, then if you miss one or two and you're just trying to clear the platforms and racing, like, do you care? Like, will anybody be like, hey, stop playing the game? Wait, Jackson, you didn't spawn your effects.
Everything.
Hold everything. Like, no, like it's like, if you get the message, good. If you don't, no biggie. A next one will come. So, and of course, on the other side, you might actually want to put it as reliable. Reliable is the other way around. It's like, no matter what, this particle should be spawned. Like, that's or basically this message should be delivered. But in this case, we don't care. And then for the second jump, it's literally the same thing. We spawn the FX. This is the regular way. And then everybody else creates second jump effects. It's literally just the same thing. It's the one-time call. And hey, if you get the message, good. If not, okay. And by the way, yes. Some people might call out this, but this is not how you properly spawn visual effects. You pull them. The best, like you create a pool of those pre-made objects, and you grab one of them and play it, and then hide it. Like, yes, this is not the best way. This is another example of not the best way to do it. Like, not at all. So none of this is production code, straight up.
And we talked about that at the top of the show, that we would let you know,
yes,
when you should not replicate exactly what we're doing, but we're showing you the concepts, the general principles around things, and we're going to explain to you why you should or should not do it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, correct. Indeed. So, and another thing that I did here, like I grabbed like a reference to this owner network animator, and on this one, I went ahead and so basically we have an offline animator and we had the multiplayer version of the animator. But if you want to go ahead, if you want to grab, but make a change happen in the animation state, you just call the owner network animator, and there's a little animator attribute, and that one calls the offline version of your animator and changes it. But that's it. That's the big change when you're synchronizing animations. That's you gotta do it through the multiplayer version, but all good. Like a lot of these components like save you a lot of work that you needed to do manually. So it's very good to apply them. But yeah, but with that, I believe that we're done with the 1 hour version.
We did the 1 hour. Well done, Esteban. So again, what we added was the very detailed player controller going across for multiplayer, including, let's not forget, the particle system.
The particle systems.
Very important.
And taking it online. And it actually works online. Yes.
That's great. So that's our kind of 1 hour deep dive. Thank you for diving in and exploring. Yes. Thank you, Unity for Community, for continuing to be here for this. I know that diving through code can be very dense and challenging. But Esteban, you're doing a great job of saying like, hey, here's what I needed to do, and here's how I accomplished it. So I think you're doing a really, really good job. We do have a handful of questions continuing to kind of come through. Some that we can jump in a little bit here and some that we'll get to a little bit later for sure. We had Daniel Santala on the YouTube side saying, I've been learning about multiplayer recently and I'm using distributed authority. I see there's not a lot of documentation about it. There's a lot more about P2P, client, host, relay, etc. Do we have any idea, Esteban, if there's plans for more documentation? Are there more resources that maybe are sneaky that we could help guide them to?
One thing that we do have available is that a question that I would say, sorry, what was it? What was the person's name again?
This
Daniel?
was Daniel.
Daniel. Okay. So I would say one thing I would say to Daniel, like there is a distributed authority good sample, and there is a distributed authority Unity Unite session on 2024 that's really good. And even though it might be a little bit old because it was like in September, but a lot of the concepts still apply. So I definitely shoot, I should have added that to the resources.
No, it's okay. I got it right here. Actually, I got the Unity, or sorry, the Unite
2024 distributed authority. There's a good video. That's a good video that explores more. But in the future, yes, we should definitely talk more about distributed authority. And in fact, it's now in general availability. Now it's not just like, it wasn't experimental or beta. Like it was already out there, but they were developing and improving it. Now it's actually general availability.
Great.
And yeah, so
awesome. Okay. We have a couple more questions, but we'll hold them to the end because I don't want to derail too much because we have about 30 minutes. We're pacing time exceptionally well, Esteban. I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, but you're doing a great job. We have a 1 day edition of this. We basically said, hey, you have a day. What did you try to accomplish on this one?
So now I went back to more gameplay. I wanted to make a racing game. I wanted to have my characters also, synchronize their animation status, their sprite status and everything. But I wanted this time around to have an actual racing game. I wanted to add like a series of checkpoints that you could clear, and whoever clears it first gets nominated the winner. So that was my goal. And like I showed before, in the 1 hour challenge, I went ahead and created like a little checkpoint, but I didn't got it all the way there. Like that was part of the challenge. I started creating like the offline version, and then like trying to convert that.
Okay.
But so the 1 day was actually more about converting that racing checkpoint and how I got a series of checkpoints to be like communicated so that the game knows, hey, you clear all of the checkpoints, bam. Oh, you did it faster than player 2. You won player 1, or vice versa.
Interesting.
So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead. I already have the day 1, the final product.
So we'll start at the end with the demo of everything you were able to accomplish, and then we'll dive deep into how you created it. Yep.
Correct. Now I will say, some of you might be going like, wait a minute, this is the offline UI. No, I have it. I have that one in case I wanted to test much faster without having to interact with the service, going online. Right. So that way I have that way I can actually enable or disable the online but not through internet version of testing. So I have the 2 UIs ready to go. This is something that I didn't have in the 1 hour one. So wanted to call that out real quick. And even though I have the other player, actually no, I'll show with the 2 screens. I'll show with the 2 screens.
So when we gave you 1 day, how many hours of like dedicated focus time did you put in?
I think like 5 to 6 with some hiccups that I ran
that's
into.
part of the process, right? Like that's
Yeah.
why we're kind of doing like your goals, because you don't necessarily hit all of the things that you set out to accomplish, right? And that's why we're kind of giving that transparency of the process for sure.
Yeah, no, so indeed, and in fact, like there were some times I was like, "Oh, come on, dude!" You, you know, you could have like 70 years of experience with code, and you'll every now and then have like something like goes like, "Come on, dude, did you really do that?"
Yeah.
Okay, so we have. Oh, wait a minute. Let me. All right. Well, hiccups happen.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
I am now.
Yeah, right. It's wild that that's like a continuous running joke, and it's also right, like most of the time.
No,
in live production, they call it a power cycle, so it sounds fancy and professional. It's literally just turning it off and turning it back on.
I don't know why, but I imagine that sentence with shoulder pads, like power cycle. I imagine the words with like shoulder pads to make it more.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Seem more stronger.
It's just turn it on and turn it back off. So that's a lesson, all of you out there. If you're trying to impress someone and you don't want to tell them that you're just going to turn it on and off again, tell them you're going to do a power cycle. Exactly. Thank you, Jack.
All right.
Have you tried turning it off? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I love the IT crowd.
Write it down.
That was when he was writing the email about the fire. Okay, sorry. Not to be distracted by awesome comedy, British comedy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's try this. Let's try this again. And by the way, for more context, what was happening? The error that I recognized, I kind of cleared it. But what was happening is that player 1 and player 2 were not in sync of the configurations in the network manager. That's something that actually that's like saying, wait a minute, your network manager has this player, but it has this other list of prefabs, but you're missing this one. I have this one. What's going on? And just it all goes to doo-doo. But yeah, that was essentially what was going on. A disagreement of settings. Okay, so real quick, Jackson. One thing you might notice is that the player on the. So I'm running player 1. So player 1 on the second screen. It's actually. I guess I should have done reduced the alpha a little bit more, but there's a little bit of difference. It's a little bit like grayed out. So I kind of added that small cosmetic effect to sort of like help differentiate. Like, hey, the clearer one is the one that you're controlling.
That's a good.
The other one, yeah. So that was like a kind of like a last minute thing I added, but I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so let's actually run through this. So I am player 1, and the concept was like, oh, okay, cool. I am ready to race. I'm going to press the ready to race. And then I get a little message that says player 0, or the first player, is ready. Then the second player is ready. And then the countdown begins of like 3, 2, 1, go. I wasn't able to get like the UI of like 3, 2, 1, go. But, the countdown does happen. Cool. So you go ahead and you clear first checkpoint, and then player 2 is already in progress of 1 out of 3 checkpoints. Then player 1 goes ahead and goes, and they also clear it. And like, oh my god, no, I'm definitely beating you. Right.
Just picturing you of that 5 or 6 hours, like at least 20 minutes of you like racing yourself, being like, oh, I'll get you.
Basically, I was testing it. Yeah. Now we get the message of like player 1 has progress of like, oh, actually, I actually fell down like that wasn't not on purpose. Like actually, that was But if you fall down after a checkpoint, you actually get respawn.
It was a scripted death. Checkpoint. You wanted to show it. You did it on purpose. Yeah. That's fun. I got you.
Yeah, sure. Like, yeah, it was totally on purpose. Sure. Now player 2 also cleared it, and then cleared the last checkpoint, and just to show the message over here, so so people can see it. Player 1 is the winner. So when I say player 1, it means client 1. So
Sure.
so out of an ID of 0 and 1. So now officially player 2 has actually won, but when player 1 actually clears it, it says like, oh, player 0 won, but that's just basically it's you completed the race course kind of message. Like ideally it would have been cool. It would have been cool that like everything resets and you go back to the beginning.
Sure.
But it didn't get up to that. But it was
You only
it
had
was a
6
lot of
turns.
fun to try and make this happen. And yes, there you go. When you die, you actually respawn in the last checkpoint that you cleared. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and explain how these race checkpoints work. How about that?
Please. Esteban, I was just sitting here and I was thinking to myself, how do these checkpoints work?
All right, then, let's do it. Actually, no, let's go back into Unity and actually show the prefab. Let's actually show the scene setup. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so I have two objects right here that are really critical to this, and yes, Jack, this is the deep dive. So this is the race manager, which also is a synchronized object, and the race checkpoints, which are also synchronized objects, right? So we have the little race checkpoint number 2, checkpoint number 3. That's it, right? So in the beginning, I thought, oh man, I'm gonna use these checkpoints, and they're gonna know what is the previous checkpoint, and they're gonna like verify and validate that if you check one checkpoint without checking the previous ones, it's gonna be so fancy. And like I went down that route. As I was excited and like, crap, what am I doing? I'm leaving the game. I'm leaving like the core gameplay behind. It's like, wait, you're right. No, focus, dude, focus. And so. So that's how I started it in the offline version. So I kind of went that route with the online version. So that's why you see like these fields like previous checkpoint effects, like previous FX spawn position, like even at a bed, like when you cross the checkpoint, do you want something else to happen, like a sound playing or anything like that?
Oh.
It's a fancy way of saying I started doing this wrong, and I started over engineering this as a concept,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not patting myself on the back on this one. So but really the checkpoints are really like the FX spawn position, the left column, and the right column is just the two scripts, and the box collider that registers when the player crosses over. Cool. Now, this is when I decided, Unity announced new tools, and like there's a Unity 6.2 beta version, and I'm like, there's an AI assistant that could maybe help me out through this, like to prototype and like just have some conversations, and that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and had some conversations with Unity in 6.2 in the AI assistant. And let me focus over here on the history.
So I have a question. It's a simple one. How do you get your magnifier up? Someone asked earlier in the stream.
Oh, Windows plus key. Windows plus the plus key.
Got it.
I literally learned this today. Because
I knew there was a hotkey, but I've only ever hit it by accident. And someone was like, "Oh shoot! Was there software?" I was like, "I know it's built in, but I can't ever do it on purpose."
Now, and I heard that apparently Windows 11 is a little bit closer to what Mac does, what Apple does, which is really cool. That control and then you zoom. Like I do that when I'm presenting live. That's the one that I use. But I mean, nothing against Windows, nothing against Mac.
You heard it here. Esteban hates Windows.
No, not at all.
I'm gonna call Larry.
But I actually went ahead and like I started having a conversation with the assistant, like, hey, assistant, let's given let's see if I go to the top. See, no, this is the one thing, like please convert this rich checkpoint prefab. So I gave it the 2 prefabs, and I was like, hey, can you like try out? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Like, try and converting this race checkpoint to be a multiplayer version. Now it got some things very very correct, like inheriting from network behavior. This variable right here, like, because I had a variable that says like if you have crossed the checkpoint, don't spawn the effects, don't consider it as crossed. This actually this actually let me unfortunately led me to a path that I should have seen it sooner. Because yes, there's a synchronized, you could have a synchronized version of a race of the checkpoint, whether it's been checked or not. But here's the thing: everybody needs to get the feedback of clearing those checkpoints. So everybody needs to. So basically, that's a field that you shouldn't synchronize, because everybody should actually cross their version of the checkpoint. Remember, these checkpoints are going to live in every device where players are playing. So if there are 3 players, there are 3 sets of checkpoints. If there are 2 players, 2 sets of checkpoints, and so on, right? So, but at the same time, but at the same time, and what I'm trying to communicate here is that use the assistant, use these AI tools to like have these conversations and like clear some concepts and learn. But trust me, you will still like this, and this is all prototypey code. Even if this was pure perfect and it worked right out of the box, this was still prototype code. You needed to go in, make sure that you reformat it if you need to, comment anything that's confusing or whatever. So yeah, our goal with this is not to substitute developers. This is just this is a tool. And that's how I used it.
Yep.
But yeah, let's actually go into the file for the racing checkpoint network. Okay. Now, as you can see, this time I actually left the has been crossed as an offline version of a Boolean variable. Why? Because, like I mentioned, everybody needs to cross their own checkpoint. And this is like a little message that says, like, if I'm running on the server, I just say like, hey, race point register. But that's actually not where I do it. So when you cross, let's actually go into when you cross the checkpoint as a player. What you're doing, I'm making sure to check on the client side, and then this is actually something that I actually borrowed from the AI. I modified it a bit, but it actually prepared to me this on trigger 2D collision. So what it's doing is that it's colliding with an object, and it's checking to see if it has a network object. So remember, at the beginning, the network object is that component that you add to tell the game this is a game object. It's a tag that says this is a game object that'll be synchronizable. The data will be synchronized, like the position, rotation, and all that good stuff. And what I did here is that if this online collider is colliding with the local player, with the actual player that is controlled by the player, then go ahead and proceed. But here I'm doing it the other way. If it's not the player, don't do anything. And if it already has been crossed, you don't need to do anything. But then once you cross it, you go ahead and grab the controller, the controller for one day, and this is the recovery position. This is for when you fall off the level, you go back to this recovery position, and you update the recovery position with the checkpoint position, and then you spawn the effects, the little sprite, the little sparkles, and then you tell the server. Remember, we use server RPCs, so we use the same methodology that I used to communicate the spawning of the particle effects. I used it to communicate to the server, to the race manager, that the checkpoint has been crossed, right?
Got it.
And by the way, some of you might be familiar with Netcode for Game Objects, and you might recognize this server RPC. In the past, this used to be the old way of doing server RPCs, right? In the new way, you could actually just go RPC and then send to server. But I found out, as a nice surprise, that in Netcode for Game Objects 2.3.2, that's the latest version, and that's the one I'm using. Mm-hmm. It's actually part of the API again. So this thing in previous versions of Netcode, it used to say like, hey, this is deprecated, use this new version. Whereas now on this very late one, I guess it was requested by users and it's back. So I'm like, all right, cool. That's a nice surprise.
Go users.
So yeah, go users. So it was a surprise to me. I was like, all right, cool. If it's back, it's back. And I actually checked on the actual official documentation. It's like, it's there. All right, cool, perfect. So, and that's when I go ahead and no, this is the gizmos. This is just like a little editing thing to show like the line between the connections of the checkpoints. But that's more of a editor tools kind of topic. Okay, so what I say here is, on the server, run this code. And on the server, I'm saying, hey, race manager, when you're running on the server, mark that player ID, like player 0, player 1, cross the checkpoint. And the race manager goes, all right, buddy, cool. Now let's actually go into the race manager. So the race manager is a singleton that has a dictionary of player progress, and it has a ulong and an int. The ulong is an unsigned long. It's a kind of variable, and that is how client IDs are stored. You looked.
Sorry.
Exactly. It's like oolong. It's like oolong tea.
Like oolong tea. That's what I typed to Esteban privately. I'm disruptive. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Now that's how I'm gonna order that. Like,
good.
Okay. So the race manager has a checkpoint, has a list of checkpoints, a list of racing checkpoints, and also a dictionary of like the player ready status. So that's basically like, you ready? All right, cool. Race started. We can go. So the progress, that's what I'm going to focus is more important. The player progress is a dictionary of like a lookup table of player 1. How many checkpoints have you cleared? And when it gets created, when a player crosses a checkpoint and they don't exist, they create that record and they mark it as 1. Because if you're creating a record of how many checkpoints you cleared, and this is the first time, then start it off as 1. But then if it's already there, go ahead and increase the amount, and then player ID has a progress of however many checkpoints they have cleared out of the total amount of racing checkpoints. So and then if a player has gone ahead and cleared all the checkpoints, we say player whatever has won. Well, it should actually just say player blah has cleared all the checkpoints. That will be a more accurate message. But yeah, so but that's essentially it, how it works. Like, so and that was my mistake when I first started. I guess I kind of like over engineered this a little bit in my head with the previous and checking that all the checkpoints were clear. No. Classic mistake, but that can still happen. And another thing that actually tripped me up that I didn't remember was that I first tried to say, when the server starts, when the network session starts, spawn the race manager and the race checkpoints dynamically. I did not know, or I did not remember, that you cannot dynamically spawn parented synchronized objects like this. And that's a conversation that that I had with the AI. Like, wait a minute, I'm getting this error. So I mean, I don't have the error right now, but when you actually having an error, when you're actually having an error and you don't know, like, wait, what's this now, and you don't know, you can actually attach debug errors.
Oh wow!
Into the AI and ask, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on here? And that's
a little troubleshooting.
Actually, yeah, check it out. Here's the nice. Here's the error. So I got the error and I'm like, wait, what the hell? Wait, that's literally, I said, wait, what's the best way to spawn nested game objects?
I like how candid you are with a text prompt. Wait a second.
Wait, dude.
wait,
bro. Actually, and that's when I like, wait a minute, and it started suggesting me like a lot. It actually uses the Unity documentation, like for its data and gathering answers, and like, oh, the best practices for spawning nested objects is like avoid dynamically creating nested objects. Like, apparently that's a no-no. And it taught, and also like to manually spawn them, you can actually do it dynamically. But it's like, well, wait a minute, like, and that's when I started like getting clearer. I started getting clarifying questions like, so but what's the best way? Should I do it in the scene? And in my head, like, yeah, that's what makes sense, because it's always going to be the same checkpoints. So let's leave them in the scene. And I started asking clarifying questions. There we go. And this was another one that I didn't remember. Do in-place scene objects need to be on the prefabs list? And it clarified that yes, it does. And like, and it actually, that's when it worked. So with the back and forth of getting a little bit of help and discussing these concepts, I was able to unblock myself, and not me necessarily going to the netcode team and bothering them on their busy day and like, hey, what's going on? Or me spending many hours looking at the documentation, like,
yeah, because that's probably more relatable, because not everybody has access to the team.
that is
for everyone else to just be like, hello, Unity, hey, I have a question. Can you give me a
wait, I thought that's how it worked. No, I know. But yeah, so that's I definitely see that. But and yes, it clarified me. I was like, oh crap, like, yeah, it actually
getting closer and closer.
Yeah, I'm getting closer. And then I was able to unblock myself. But that was one of the, yeah, honestly, that was a cool moment. Like that was a cool moment with the moment with the assistant. And that's one of the goals I had. I wanted to try out these new AI tools and see like where they were helpful, where they could maybe use a little bit of improvement, and thankfully it was more helpful than not, So but yeah, that was the rundown. I guess that was a rundown of one day. Like I remember in the chat that we have some questions. Like,
yeah, perhaps. Well, so we have a mixture of questions, but I also before we get there, let's do like a little postmort. So now that this whole project's behind you, you spent lots of time doing everything. Were there any elements that you wanted to get added that you just didn't have time to? Like, was there a next step that you would have taken to this? Like, could you see the vision?
I wanted to have obstacles. I wanted to have like stuff that shoots at the players, and the players stunned and like that. So that would be that would have been cool to like, or perhaps like spend more time designing a level that required more like precise usage of the dash that that I synchronized this time around. So yeah, like I would have done that. More UI to like 3, 2, 1, and then have like a little wall that like disappears and like go, like to actually have actually feel more like a race. So and then reset and tell all the checkpoints, all right, there we go, you can cross all the checkpoints again, and now and to complete the game loop, that's what I would have done. But yeah, it is what it is.
That's great.
I had fun. I learned. I got more familiar with the AI assistant. I got more familiar with multiplayer in general, and yeah, I learned and I had fun.
No, it's great. And what we'll do is we'll do Clocked and Loaded Multiplayer Solutions Part 2, and we'll give you a week and then a month, and you come back with us with a polished game. We have a couple.
As much as possible.
This is one final button I want to put on this before we go to community Q&A is, would you recommend that people take this approach to creating their own solutions? And I know we talked about it and we danced around it. What would you recommend to make sure that we're not leading people astray?
When they say create their own solutions, like, do you mean like what I did with having an AI assistant?
I just mean, like, I suppose generally your approach to executing. Like, I know early on we talked about how in the 10-minute segment that you're like, this is how you can get it done, but don't do it this way. Towards the end of it all, were you in a spot where you were like, no, we've definitely changed the approach, that this is how I would recommend it? Or were we still kind of operating in an area of like, there's better ways, just with more time we would be able to accomplish it?
I was, I think I was still there on the more finding out phase, because the thing I like the racing checkpoints, the way that they work is also through RPCs, and RPCs are not the most best way to synchronize data that should be consistent. A lot, like, RPCs should be more like a one-time thing, and I would definitely I started actually in the last minutes exploring with the AI, like asking like, hey, how would I do this through network variables? I would rather have the race manager have synchronizable data, synchronizable data, and keep track of like everybody's progress, so that other players can know that, like, oh crap, player two just cleared the second checkpoint, and I'm still behind. And that's kind of stuff that you can do. Like, imagine that there's like a little line that tracks your progress, and you can see like a little Jackson icon and a little Esteban icon, and see that Jackson is like way far ahead and leaving Esteban in the dust and like stuff like that. So, and you could do all kind of cool stuff with those when you properly synchronize data and keep good track of data. The way that I did this is not the way to go, because I did it through one-time messages of like, yo, Jackson cleared the checkpoint. You didn't get that? All right, too bad. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Cool. Also, perhaps if I want to prevent cheating, perhaps the game objects are all held by the server, and the client, all they can do is like request movement. And this is and there's a video that I put on the resources that goes over like, at least in a fundamental level, how you can do that, how you can have all the characters controlled by the server or owned by the server, but still controlled by the client. And that can be a little bit of a safety issue. So if I were to make this racing game like to be used in a tournament, or like or in a competitive sense, I would like to prevent cheating, right? So that's other stuff to consider. Yeah.
Esteban, is everything okay over there? There's a lot of sirens.
Really?
Yeah, are they coming after you? Okay, we're okay. They haven't found you yet, have they?
It's been 30 years. They finally found me. Okay.
They finally got you.
Finally got me.
Committed crimes when you were like 4 years old. Sick. I don't know how old you are. Anyhow, let's bring in some of the community Q&A here. We've got some good ones that we've accumulated. Let's kind of work backwards, because I want to bring in a couple of questions that came together as we were going through the one-day approach that you had here. Sank on the YouTube side and Copper K. Talking about the AI model, first wanting to know, and Esteban, I know this isn't necessarily your domain or your area of expertise, so if you don't know, that's totally okay, but figured I'd get it to you anyways. What is the Unity AI using as an AI model? Is it an official tool, or is it like ChatGPT? And I feel like I know some of these answers, but I'm going to let you, because I feel like you have a little more experience and hands-on with it.
Sorry, if I recall, now in 6.2 we actually have some Unity partners, so we are using some third party solutions, and in fact we have in our website of the AI how we're using these partners, and a more detailed version with a detailed FAQ of how we're using these third party these third-party models.
Perfect. I actually found that link, was able to throw it in chat. So if anyone wants to kind of follow up on what these tools look like, please do so.
But I will say this particular, like the particular model that was used for the answers that I showed, I'm not sure, but I can say that like a lot of the data, especially for the ask portion of like the Unity AI, especially when you ask it, it uses a lot of data from our documentation, like our own data as well.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was hoping we would be able to hammer home, but I don't know the context around it. Last I heard was a lot of the training comes from the documentation that we have created itself. So it learns from the engine itself for a great deal of it. But of course, there's a lot more nuance. There's a lot more detail than I have. So go and check out that link if you would like it. A question from Mr. Awesome on the YouTube side. Esteban, do you share random seeds so that you don't need to sync random generated data?
Do I share random seeds? Like
I'm hoping that you understand it, because
like scattering the checkpoints, or like,
I'm not sure. Mr. Awesome, I know you're still hanging out. If you want to follow up or elaborate,
please get a clarifying.
Yeah, we can get that for you too. Blood Air on the YouTube side earlier in the stream asked about the networking input. Is this networking input compatible with the new Unity input system?
Yes. Yes. You can definitely use Neko for game objects with the new player input. Player input. So I guess you could. I guess my gut instinct is that you could do the same thing of like having some code that actually interacts with the new input system and gets value, and then feeds it off to the controller that actually moves the character. And then because you don't want to put that thing I did of like if it's owner, if it's not owner, on the actual generated script by the new input system, because that'll be overridden. The new input system script will like generate a new script, and you don't want to mess with that. So have like maybe like another script that interacts with that, and that's where you apply the if it's owner, if it's not owner. And similar to what we did here with the character. That's what I would say.
Perfect. Love it. I want to bring in a bit more of a discussion topic more than a question, I suppose. But Fire on YouTube asked, does netcode have serious problems or limitations that make other competitors worthy? We talk a lot about using the right tools that work for you.
Yeah.
Are there any drawbacks that you can see in this approach?
Yes. In fact, Netcode for game objects, if people are familiar with like using the photon solutions, a lot of people have compared, and this is not me like making it up. Like this is actually what I've seen and heard from other people making multiplayer games. That they have tried Photon Pun and Netcode for game objects, and they compare the two of them. So, and one of the limits of Netcode for game objects is that it's not really intended for like high amounts of players, like 50, 60. You can actually optimize a game enough to like try to get to the high level, but it's not intended, or it's not designed for that high amount, high accuracy, high physics, like for making first-person shooters or something like that. Although you can make a first-person shooter, but that's why we recommend, like, if you wanted more physics accuracy, we go with Netcode for entities, or the DOTS or ECS version of multiplayer.
Sounds good. Mr. Awesome is here to clarify. I'll read you the original question and the clarifier. Do you share random seeds so that you don't need to sync random generated data? Mr. Awesome follows up by saying, for things like synced particle systems, or like Minecraft for terrain generation. Not specific to this game.
Oh, okay. My bad. Now I understand. Like for example, if I wanted to make like a procedurally generated level, or if there was an effects that relied on a particular number or a key, like you could synchronize that. Yeah, you could synchronize that key, like perhaps there's an effects that like plays a little bit different when there's a death animation, or when there's a successful kill or something. You could synchronize that and send over that particular number and say, and that would be because what I did was, hey, this happened, play this. Whereas with the seed, it could be, hey, this happened, but play with this value. And that way you're still synchronizing a small amount of data, could be a byte, could be only a byte, and that's it, and still get a little bit of that fidelity, even on the cosmetic side of things.
Awesome. I want to bring in one more, Esteban. I'm not sure if you'll have the answers for this one, because what I would like is additional resources we could direct our friend Goatee to. Any tips about networking optimization? Optimization, I think, is always a hot topic. How do we do things faster? How do we do it better? If we were to just redirect them to somewhere where they could probably follow up and learn more, do we have any ideas? Or do you just have one banger tip?
I have the one. No, I don't.
You got the one? One tip?
No. The one tip to rule them. No.
Exactly.
It's really just keep experimenting and keep finding out like what works best. Like now, I will say the one thing I recommend is talk to people that have made actual live products. Like I'm a developer advocate. Us at advocates, we try as much as complex as we can get, but like usually we cover our other areas of development in Unity, so we might not go as deep in a topic. But the one thing I would recommend is that join the Unity Discord server. The Discord server, there's a dedicated multiplayer Discord server, and there you actually get help from people making games, and also some of the Unity netcode creators, the one that can actually that really know the insights of the netcode and can really help you to optimize. But in general, one thing that I've heard from people and people that have actually shipped games either for mobile or PC or different platforms, and even VR. Like the one thing that really stands out is that try to send as little data as possible. Optimize, make sure that you're and a lot of it's weird, but a lot of it still is making sure that you optimize even on the code that runs on the client side as well. Make sure that if you're CPU bound, how do you optimize there? If you're GPU bound, how do you optimize there? Because your game still needs to run additional logic. So you might have the netcode code or the networked code in a very good state, but there might be other stuff that interferes with that performance of the game.
Awesome. Esteban, thank you for your expertise, lending your time, your energy, your all of this. This was great. I really appreciate it. Also, Corey is in chat. Corey joined us.
Oh, sweet. Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
By the way,
we got a new colleague, everybody. So Corey might join us on a stream in the near future. You'll get to meet some more Unity folks, which I think will be really fun.
And also, Corey and I will be hanging out in Copenhagen and Serbia next week.
Dang.
What am I talking about? I leave tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Different. But we, of course, Unity Community will put all of the resource links into the description of this video as well. Clocked and Loaded is a very fun approach to kind of displaying these principles and this information. It is also some of the hardest. It is the heaviest pre-production of almost any show that we do. It requires a lot of Esteban. You heard him discussing how many hours he put into each of these things. So a massive thank you to Esteban on this one for going above and beyond to help kind of create this show. I think a lot of people have resonated with it. We've seen a lot of positive response throughout this stream. So Esteban, let's take a second here and thank you very, very much for all that you did for this.
It was my pleasure. Like I love doing this. This was a fun experiment. I learned, like, I got paid to
it's my job.
Are you kidding me? Like this is this is a blessing, man. And this is I truly enjoy this sincerely. So in other words, I will definitely do it again.
Perfect. We will find another opportunity to bring you back to get into something more exciting. Again, this was basically born from, for the context of the Unity community, Esteban came to me and said, hey, I'm seeing a lot of curiosity about multiplayer and like diving deeper into systems. And I said, well, we kind of got this show and we're looking to make a new episode of it. So why don't we try this? So this would be great. Linda Leas in the Twitch chat says it's the beginning of the summer of Esteban 25. So we're ready for it. But again, Esteban, thank you so much. We'll have an opportunity to bring you back soon, I'm sure.
Nice.
Sweet. We're going to say goodbye to you, and then I'm going to check in. So bye, Esteban.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Cuídense mucho. Take care.
Hey, appreciate you. I'll talk to you in just a second. Unity community, I want to extend a big thank you to you all as well. Not just for being here, but I said it once during the stream as well. I'm absolutely floored and incredibly encouraged every single time I see you all interacting with each other in chat, answering each other's questions, helping with problem solving, all of those good things. So thank you all for being here and being such a wonderful community. We're so, so lucky. Please check out the Discord and discussions pages, as it will help you continue to connect with your Unity community, find collaboration opportunities, troubleshoot things, show off your game, show off all of those cool things. Spaceboy103 coming in last minute. Did I miss the stream? We are just wrapping up. However, if you joined us late, the entire VOD will be available on the YouTube page. So please go and check that out. We have our next stream coming up. That will be next Thursday. Again, we are trying to do streams Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next couple of months. However, next Tuesday stream has been shifted into the coming months. So we have a Thursday stream. It has not saved the way that I wanted to, but let me grab you all a link right here. We are bringing Ben Cloward back. We're going to be talking about shader graph one more time. He's going to come in. It won't be the last time, I assure you. He's going to come in and show us a 3-pack of samples. We're going to teach you how to use Flipbook. We're going to teach you environment, shader, I think, and one other one. It's going to be awesome. Cloth shade. That's the one. So come on back next Thursday. A list of thank yous. Of course, you, dear Unity community, Esteban as our wonderful guest. Shout out to Aaron Sharp for the original concept, Mike Geig for helping develop it. A big shout out to Jack, our producer, working behind the scenes to make our episodes happen. We are so, so grateful for the entire team. Couldn't do it without you all. Unity community, thank you so very much for hanging out here with us. Until I see you all again, have a great rest of your day, everybody.